All right, let's talk about the puzzle that is modern Hong Kong. How can one place be this super efficient modern powerhouse and at the same time a city where people are really truly struggling? We're going to dig into the data behind this incredible tale of two cities all wrapped up in one. So let's get right to the heart of it. On one side, you have these major reports ranking Hong Kong's government as the second most efficient on the entire planet. That's amazing, right? But then you flip the coin. For the actual people living there, it is, year after year, the single most unaffordable city in the world to buy a home. So this is the big question, isn't it? How can you have this world-class success story and a society in crisis, all happening in the same city? By looking at the numbers, we're going to unpack how this contradiction is even possible and what it tells us about how cities are run today. Okay, so first up, let's make the case for success. Because on paper, Hong Kong's government is an absolute machine, one of the best in the world. And the numbers that back this up are, well, they're pretty staggering. Let's start with taxes. According to the latest IMD World Competitiveness Report, Hong Kong isn't just good, it's number one, globally, not just in Asia, but in the entire world. Its simple, low-tax system is a huge magnet for international business. And it's not just about the taxes. That same report ranks its overall government efficiency as second in the world. Now, this isn't some happy accident. It's the result of a bureaucracy that's been deliberately designed to be streamlined and to get things done with as little red tape as possible. And what about integrity? Well, the World Justice Project ranks Hong Kong ninth in the world for its absence of corruption. I mean, that's ahead of a lot of established Western countries. What this tells you is that the institutional foundations are rock solid. So, look, when you line up all this data, the picture it paints is crystal clear. You've got a stable, incredibly well-managed, and super competitive economy. From a purely how to run a city perspective, Hong Kong looks like a massive success. Okay, but that's only one side of the coin, because if you scratch just below that shiny surface, the data tells a completely different story, one of deep social and economic problems. And here is the absolute record scratch moment. The latest Demographia report found that the median home price in Hong Kong is over 14 times the median household income. Think about that for a second. You'd have to save every single penny you earned for more than 14 years just to afford an average place to live. It's just wild. And yeah, that makes it the most unaffordable major city on the planet. And it's not just about housing. There's this other huge issue. What's going to power the economy tomorrow? Hong Kong invests less than 1% of its GDP in research and development. That's half of what Singapore spends and a quarter of what its neighbor Shenzhen pumps in. I mean, this isn't just a statistic. It shows a real failure to invest in the future. And the money that is being made, it's not really being shared. This chart shows something called the Gini coefficient. It's basically a report card for income inequality. And as you can see, the trend is heading in the wrong direction. The gap between the richest and everybody else has been widening for years. And all that efficiency we talked about, it seems it hasn't been applied to protecting things like civil liberties. According to Reporters Without Borders, Hong Kong's press freedom ranking has totally cratered. It's now sitting at 135th in the world. I mean, to go from the top 20s to 135th in just 2 decades, that's a free fall. So what gives? How can you have this hyper-efficient machine on one hand and a society under so much stress on the other? Well, the analysis points to this really interesting idea: the difference between being a great manager and a visionary leader. Okay, so there's this key idea called policy capacity. And it's not just about the operational stuff, keeping the trains running on time. It's also about having the analytical smarts to see big problems coming and, this is the big one, the political skill to get everyone on board with a solution and a shared vision. And this is exactly where analysts say Hong Kong has stumbled. Analytically, they kind of misread the room on the social mood. Operationally, that super efficient bureaucracy, it turned out to be too rigid to handle a messy, complex crisis like COVID. And politically, they lost the public trust needed to build that consensus for big, necessary changes. And this really gets to the heart of two totally different ways of running a city. For decades, Hong Kong's philosophy was positive non-intervention, basically a hands-off approach. Let the free market work its magic. But in Singapore, they took the exact opposite path, a proactive, hands-on industrial policy, where the government actively invested to build up key industries for their future. And you can see the results right here. Singapore's hands-on strategy has helped push its GDP per capita way past Hong Kong's. And then you've got Shenzhen. Just look at that R&D spending.
They've basically built a global tech hub from the ground up in just a couple of decades, while Hong Kong's economy has been less dynamic.
So where does this all lead? What's the path forward for Hong Kong, and how does it even begin to solve this massive paradox?
If you boil it all down, the argument is pretty clear. The problem was never about technical skill or incompetence. The government is brilliant at managing the day-to-day. The real failure was a crisis of strategic vision, an inability to look over the horizon and build a better, more inclusive future.
And that leaves us with the big question, the one that really matters. We know Hong Kong has this world-class manager, but can that manager learn to become a visionary leader? Can it find the wisdom to tackle these deep, painful problems and actually guide Hong Kong toward a future with more shared prosperity? That right there is the defining challenge.